Of iPads for city commissioners, Commissioner Herda.
Well, thank you for putting this on here. I've heard a few questions throughout our city and didn't know specific numbers, so I appreciate you putting this together for me, Mr. Redmond. Couple of things were, I see a monthly software on here. Is there software that's going to be able to download our documents and such? Are you able to answer that at this time?
Yes, sir. You have Dropbox. You also have a management software, so if you have a problem, it can be remotely taken care of by the staff.
Gotcha.
And I'd like to touch on one more thing while we're here, because I've heard it myself throughout the technology changes every day. If y'all don't, you see it in your own lives. In the city, we rotate out. We have to rotate out computers all the time because software will not run on old computers or older computers. So we have to keep moving up. We have to keep moving up. The reason we bought a bigger laptop and a better, iPad and a better iPad is because we're going to hand these to you, and like Ms. Moon, if she goes on and serves 2 more years and then she, the next commissioner get it, there's not anything in place to say, okay, it's time to turn that in. It's got to keep up with as much technology and take you as far in the future as I can without spending money every year to try to keep you up to date.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to make sure that people know there was some thought put into this. It wasn't just willy-nilly we went out and bought a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I was looking at the specs on this. They're very.
They are good.
Really, it's robust. Really, for the prices I've seen in the market, very competitive.
Yeah.
I think there were some questions on internet usage and such. Is this something where if there's overages or?
Well, that's something else that I'm glad you brought that up, that I meant to bring up. The contract that we have with our carrier, our internet use is unlimited, so it doesn't really matter. We do monitor it, and if we see somebody on their phones that high usage, the first person we contact is them. If it becomes a problem,
Sure.
we go to their supervisor. But I don't think we've done that one time since we've been monitoring for the last, nearly 10 years. So, that's a real good record,
Yes, sir.
as many people as we have that have phones.
But to hear that again, we have unlimited usage. There's not a extra charge for extra bandwidth.
No.
Fixed fee, there is no additional cost past that point.
We pay a flat fee for an iPhone, a flat fee for a flip phone, and the iPhone and the iPad are the same price.
One thing I've heard, and I think is a pretty good idea, is, I think we all need to know what's expected of us as we use city equipment technology. And then I trust each person up here is going to, be responsible stewards of the city's resources. I think if perhaps maybe our technology director, and I don't know if the city attorney needs to be involved, but just some kind of policy put in place to make sure that we're using.
Just to interject on you, we're actually, Lisa and I have been talking about that for the last couple of months.
Awesome.
And we're going to be, when we put together our governance policy, which that's going to be something that I bring up at requests for future items about doing a special workshop to find that that's going to be something that's included, because it would have been initially included in the governance policy, but this was something we talked about at a strategic planning meeting, and before that we had talked about the governance policy and passed all that out, so it's going to be part of each commissioner's governance policy.
Awesome. Thank you, and thank you for your work on
Sure.
this.
Yeah, when I looked over these, I know how it will be used. I know, as you calculate the hours that are put together with the city and the packets and the cost savings that we'll realize just because of having that going out digitally, and then each commissioner actually having that with them and being able to pull up documents and to archive them because of the robust specs on the iPad.
Yes.
Really, I don't know how we could provide a better product at less cost than what you've done. Really.
That's what I feel like we did, and we actually reached out to some other cities, and we didn't want to make the mistake they made, and some of them did make the mistake of buying, the smallest, cheapest thing they could find, and found themselves in trouble than trying to go to commissioners and having them delete some stuff so you can get this back on there, because it's, we tried to do the very best we could. And by the way, all the iPads are in, and we'll be contacting you individually to bring you in and kind of give you a orientation.
I appreciate you putting this together because, you know, something, when it gets this much traction just in your city, that we can provide those answers with the details that we need, it really helps. And I know that our city, they're not just going to hand a iPad to us. We'll have a use policy. We'll have something we need to sign that it doesn't belong to us.
And it's also going to be in a very rugged case to make sure if it's dropped, because inevitably, I've dropped my phone 1,000 times. I know you drop iPads. You're going to drop anything you carry gets dropped.
Talking about it being city property, and obviously if one of us don't get reelected or decide not to run again, that it turns back over to the city. Just out of curiosity, how many iPads has the city had that we have gone? Because I'm sure that at some point it'll go from a city commissioner to to director or whatever. Because we have a tendency of passing these things down the line. I mean, we've got some iPads or digital software, digital stuff that has been passed down 2 or 3 times that has just kept moving.
Well, I mean, normally our IT people have we keep them in the better iPads, but like if we pass one down, if somebody needs to use one, we always have one available for them. You know, if they're going to a seminar or conference, whatever the case, we always have something available for them, and we do pass them down.
So it's not like we buy one in 2 years, we throw it away and go buy another one.
No,
If it does get in a situation where it's not practical here, it goes down to where it is practical and is used until it just more or less dies.
I don't want to belabor this, but it used to be that, iPads and iPhones, if you broke them, you pitched them. But now that you can have them fixed. So, I mean, things are changing quick, and these will, they fall in that category of Apple being able to send them back and get them fixed.
Thank you for putting this together.
Any other questions for Mr. Redmond on this?
I just want to thank Jack. I'm looking forward to using this. I think it'll be very helpful for commissioners to be able to download these huge packets we get. We get 4 of these a month, right?
Twice a week.
At least 4 a month.
4 a month, and
least,
they're huge, and I end up recycling all of them. And
I do too,
It's
right
kind
in the
of-
trash.
it's kind of a waste of.
I feel bad for the guy that's running around town all day finding us to deliver them.
Anyway, I think it's going to be very helpful, not just recycling, but to be able to flip through enlarged blueprints. There's lots of use for this, so I'm excited.
All right.
So, if someone could, once we get these out, if you could let Ms. Huffman know that she no longer has to take her personal time on the way home to drop mine off. I appreciate that.
All right. Next item on the agenda, report.